Hi there. So, the tension between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo went a notch higher on Tuesday, yesterday, after Kigali shot at Kinshasa's military jet as it approached landing in Goma. Now, the moment, almost 30 minutes after that incident, Rwanda released their own version of the statement. So they say that they were basically carrying out defensive measures because they say that that plane had violated their airspace. Now, few hours later, the Congolese government have also released a communication, and their statement says that that plane was attacked when it was landing. And it made me go back to those videos that are circulating on social media and looked at them closely. And I noticed that actually the plane was in a dive. It was basically doing the landing, the normal way planes usually approach an airport. And the plane is moving slowly. And that's when it is hit by this missile or the manpad. To those who may be wondering, why am I saying manpad? And what I simply mean is that it's man-portable air defense system, or a portable surface-to-air missile. And man-portable means that it is shoulder launched. In other words, a soldier will place this missile's launcher on his shoulder and then point at low-flying aircraft like helicopters or planes that are approaching airports, and then fires. And most people believe that the one that was used in this particular instance against the Congolese jet was a 9K-38 Igla. And this 9K-38 Igla is a Russian man-portable infrared homing surface-to-air missile. Infrared means that it uses the heat signature of the aircraft's engines to find its target. And once it approaches that target, most of the time it explodes, releasing shrapnel to expand the size of the impact. And in this case, I think the Congolese plane had some evasive maneuver. That is the explosion we see behind the plane before it is hit. And somehow it worked because the plane survived, but some of the shrapnel found their way to the right side wing, and in the wing is where you find the fuel tanks, and that is the source of the fire. So the Rwandans were not firing a warning shot, they were going for the kill. It could have ended badly for both the pilot and the aircraft. Now, before I continue talking about Rwanda's history with this surface-to-air missile, let us take a break and read some of the comments on the previous video I made the moment news about this plane or the shooting of this plane came out. So the first comment is from a guy called Kurunziza, and this guy is saying that the plane was in Rwandan airspace, bro or brother. And there's another guy from Congo, I think, who's saying no, it was shot over Goma airport, which is not part of Rwanda. Of course, the same guy continued to say, no, it was in Rwanda. It did the same thing two times before. And basically what he means, this is a time one of these Congolese jets at the Goma International Airport violated the Rwandan airspace. Actually, it did twice. The first time, it flew over the Rubavu district of Rwanda. The second time, it even went ahead and landed on an airstrip inside Rwanda. So he's talking about those two times. And both times, Rwanda protested, and both times the Congolese government kind of apologized. Yeah, they issued a statement to apologize. Another comment comes from a user called Sibomana Sirike. He's saying that you are a good analyst, but you know that violating an airspace of any other country, mostly when there is tension like between Rwanda and Congo, maybe it may be tolerated if it's just for the first time, but I think he goes ahead to say it may not be tolerated if it is repeated. And I agree with him. I think the Congolese government also needs to be careful. The people flying these planes, and we know they are not Congolese, they are people from, I think, was it Bulgaria or Romania? No, Georgia. So the Georgian pilots who are flying these Sukhoi Su-25 planes, they need to be careful. These two countries have this tension between them, and violating that airspace like they did yesterday is not something that can be tolerated. I think that's what the user is saying. There's another comment, which will be the last one to look at, saying that I'm being biased. They're saying you are biased on one side. Congolese violated Rwandan airspace 3 times in the last 2 months. So basically, he's saying the same thing. And my 2 cents is that the Congolese government needs to be careful, because every time they are not careful and then they come out crying victim. And the citizens of Congo are the ones who end up getting hurt. So they need to be careful. They need to stop violating the airspace of Rwanda so that Rwanda doesn't have a pretext, to attack them. Now, let's go back to our story about this Manpad, this surface-to-air missile, the 9K-38 Igla. Now, the history of Rwanda and this missile, this particular anti-aircraft missile, goes back to before 1994. And Ugandan army or the Ugandan government acquired these Iglas from Libya, according to the stories or the history about them. And then it was passed on to the RPF. These were the rebels, the Tutsi rebels, led by Paul Kagame. I don't want to go into so much detail because this is not a documentary, but it is suspected or investigation have shown that this shoulder-launched surface-to-air anti-aircraft missile could have been used to shoot down the plane carrying the former president of Rwanda, Juvenal Habyarimana. And recently, the same manpads or the same missiles have been used against both civilian and military aircraft by Rwanda in eastern Congo. For instance, last year, a MONUSCO helicopter, these UN peacekeeping white-painted helicopters. So a MONUSCO helicopter was shot using this same missile. 6 Pakistani soldiers, 1 Russian pilot, and 1 Serbian engineer on that aircraft died. A week later, a FARDC or Congolese army helicopter was also shot using the same missile by the M23, and all 12 soldiers and crew members on that same aircraft died. So it's a tricky situation right now at the Goma International Airport, especially for any civilian aircraft planning to land at that airport.